Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We all kind of stumble through this whole love, sex, and relationships thing, right?
Yeah, it can definitely feel like we're making it up as we go along sometimes.
Exactly. But what if I told you there are all these hidden rules, these sort of unspoken assumptions that are shaping our every move in relationships?
Hmm, intriguing.
Well, today we're going deep, really deep, into those hidden assumptions using this fascinating book, Rewriting the Rules, an anti-self-help guide to love, sex, and relationships.
Anti-self-help guide. Okay, I'm interested.
Yeah, it's really refreshing. It's like getting a backstage pass to understand all these unconscious scripts that affect how we connect with others.
Makes you wonder what we're even doing on autopilot, huh?
Right, and the goal here isn't to tell you what to do or how relationships should be. It's more about giving you a new lens to see things through.
So like a fresh perspective on things we might take for granted.
Exactly. We want to help you become more aware of these deeply ingrained ideas about love, sex, and relationships and how they might be influencing you.
I like that. It's about empowering people to make more conscious choices.
And one of the things that really makes this book stand out is that it's grounded in real life. It weaves together solid academic research with everyday experiences, so it's not just abstract theories.
Oh, that's good. It makes it so much more relatable.
Right. It's like, hey, this is stuff we all deal with. And importantly, the book isn't about handing you all the answers on a silver platter.
More about getting people to think for themselves.
Exactly. It's about sparking your own curiosity and encouraging you to question things, to really challenge the status quo. So are you ready to dive into the world of these hidden relationship norms?
Let's do it. I'm already intrigued.
Okay, great. Let's start with the most fundamental relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. This book challenges this common idea that we each have one solid, fixed self that never changes.
Interesting. Because we all know we act differently in different situations, right?
Exactly. Instead of this fixed self, the book suggests we're more like a collection of different selves that kind of emerge depending on the situation.
Okay, I could see that. Like the way you are with your family might be completely different from how you are with your close friends.
Totally. Or think about how you might be super responsible at work, but then let loose and be a total goofball with your old college buddies.
Yeah.
It's like different parts of you come out in different contexts.
Yeah, that makes sense. Almost like different versions of ourselves depending on who we're with.
And what's even more fascinating is how society often tells us, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly, that this collection of selves we have isn't quite good enough.
Oh, I know what you mean. Like there's always this pressure to improve, to be better.
Right. There's this constant messaging, especially from the media and the self-help industry, that we need to fix something about ourselves, that we're somehow lacking.
It's almost like we're set up to feel inadequate from the start.
Yeah, and what's so ironic is that at the same time, we're also told to love ourselves unconditionally, just as we are.
But how can you do that when you're constantly bombarded with images of perfect bodies, perfect
It's a
lives?
total paradox, right? It's like being told to embrace your flaws while simultaneously being pressured to erase them.
It definitely creates a lot of inner conflict.
Another really interesting point the book makes is about the hard and soft ways we relate to ourselves and others.
Hard versus soft. What does that even mean?
Well, think of it like this. A hard approach might involve a lot of self-criticism, like
Mm,
being really harsh on yourself, always pushing yourself to the limit, and maybe even judging others pretty harshly.
Oh, okay. So it's like a tough love kind of approach.
Kind of. And then a soft approach might involve avoiding confrontation, always putting other people's needs before your own, maybe even letting yourself off the hook a little too easily sometimes.
So both approaches have their downsides, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're always trying to find that balance, that sweet spot between being too hard on ourselves and others and being too soft.
And what's the book's take on finding that balance?
Well, one of the things it suggests is this really cool exercise. Think about your life as a story.
My life as a story. That's an interesting concept.
Right. Where did your story begin? Where are you in the narrative right now? What are the recurring themes you notice? If your life was a book, what genre would it be?
Wow, that's making me think. It's like stepping back and seeing the big picture.
Yeah, and it helps you realize there's not just one single way to interpret your experiences. It's like, oh, there are multiple drafts of my life story, and I can choose which one to focus on.
And how does that help with this whole hard versus soft thing?
It leads to what the book calls a gentle and firm approach to self-exploration. It's about being honest with yourself, like really looking at your patterns and tendencies, but doing it with kindness.
So being honest but not beating yourself up.
Yeah, that's it. It's about understanding where you might be too hard on yourself or where you might need to be a bit firmer.
That's really helpful. So much of the self-help stuff out there is so focused on fixing yourself. And this is like a breath of fresh air.
Totally. It's about accepting that you're a work in progress with all your complexities and contradictions.
I like that a lot.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the rules of love. I think we've all been fed these cultural narratives about what perfect love is supposed to look like, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The fairy tale ending, finding the one.
Right. The soulmate, the idea that love conquers all, that you'll live happily ever after with zero conflict.
It's everywhere you look, from those classic Disney movies to every romantic comedy ever made.
And even in action movies, the hero often gets the girl as the ultimate reward.
Yeah, it sets up this expectation that there's this one magical person out there who will make your life complete.
And that's where the problem comes in, this belief that one person can meet every single one of your needs. It's a huge amount of pressure on the relationship.
It's setting yourself up for disappointment, isn't it? Because no one person can be everything to you.
Exactly. The book has this really great challenge for us. Make a list of things in your life that have given you that same intense joy and connection that we often associate with falling in love.
So things beyond romantic love that light you up inside.
Yeah. Like, for me, it might be that feeling of accomplishment when I finish a challenging project, or that deep sense of understanding I get from talking to my best friend. It helps you realize that fulfillment can come from many different places.
I like that. It broadens your perspective on what love can even look like.
Another thing to think about is the psychology behind how relationships form. We're naturally drawn to familiarity, similarity, and physical attraction.
So we're wired to be attracted to what we know, what feels safe.
Right. We tend to like people who share our values, our interests, and of course, who we find physically attractive.
It's fascinating when you think about the historical context, too. Marrying for love, like we often do today, is a relatively recent thing in Western culture.
Yeah, it really is. It used to be more about practical considerations like economic security or social standing.
It makes you realize how much our ideas about love are shaped by culture and the time we live in.
And you know, this pressure to find the one can lead to a lot of relationship anxiety.
Oh, I can imagine, like constantly wondering, is this the one or is there someone better out there?
Exactly. You're always second-guessing yourself, maybe ending relationships prematurely because you're afraid of missing out.
That's no way to live. It
Right.
sounds exhausting.
It really is. And it can also make us neglect other important relationships in our lives.
Like friendships.
Yeah, friendships, family relationships. We get so focused on finding and nurturing that one romantic relationship that other bonds can suffer.
It's all about balance, right?
Yeah,
Making space for different kinds of love in your life.
absolutely. And speaking of balance, the book reminds us that solitude is important too.
Oh yeah, having time to yourself is essential.
Right. It allows us to reconnect with ourselves, to pursue our own interests, to have that sense of individuality, even within a relationship.
It helps you come back to the relationship refreshed and with more to offer.
Exactly. The book also suggests we change the way we think about love metaphors. Instead of that thunderbolt that strikes you out of the blue, what if we thought of love as a wave?
A wave. How so?
Well, a wave has its peaks and troughs. It's not always this constant high. It's something you can ride, something that ebbs and flows.
That's a really nice way to think about it. More realistic for sure.
Right. Or you could think of love as an invitation, something you can choose to accept or decline.
I like that too. It gives you a sense of agency.
Yeah, it's not just this force that sweeps you off your feet. You have a choice in the matter.
It takes away that pressure of having to feel a certain way.
And the book reminds us of this ancient Greek idea that the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself.
That makes sense. If you're not okay with yourself, it's hard to be okay with someone else.
Totally. When you cultivate kindness and self-awareness within yourself, it radiates outwards into all your other relationships.
It sets the foundation for how you connect with others.
So just to sum up, here are some of the rules of love that we really need to reconsider. The idea that you must find the one, that they have to be everything to you, that you're incomplete without them, and that love conquers all.
Yeah, those are some pretty big myths to unpack.
Now let's venture into the often tricky territory of the rules of sex. Our culture puts so much emphasis on sex within romantic relationships. It's seen as this crucial element, almost like the glue that holds them together.
Yeah, there's this expectation that a healthy relationship has to have a certain amount of sex.
And along with that, there's this immense pressure to be sexually desirable, right? Your sense of worth can get tied up in how attractive you think you are.
It's like your value as a person is connected to your sex appeal.
Exactly. And the book uses this really interesting image, the sex pyramid. It's like a pyramid that shows how society ranks different types of sexual relationships in terms of acceptability.
So what's at the top of this pyramid?
Usually it's heterosexual, monogamous sex. Everything else is kind of placed below that with varying levels of acceptance.
Which makes you think about how other forms of sexual expression, like same-sex relationships or different kinds of intimacy, are often judged or even stigmatized.
Right, and it can really affect how people feel about themselves and their relationships.
And it's not just about the type of sex either. There's also this tension between the idea of normal sex and the expectation of having great sex.
Oh, yeah, like everyone's supposed to know what normal and great even mean.
Exactly, and it's often unspoken, so no one really talks about it openly.
And that lack of communication can lead to all sorts of problems, like performance anxiety, feeling inadequate, and this pressure to prioritize what's considered normal, even if it doesn't bring you pleasure.
It makes sex more about meeting expectations than about genuine connection and enjoyment.
And one of the biggest critiques the book has is the overemphasis on PIV sex, penis and vagina sex leading to orgasm, as the be-all and end-all of sexual activity.
Right, like that's the gold standard, and anything else is somehow less than.
Yeah, and it ignores the fact that many people with vulvas need direct clitoral stimulation to orgasm, and that's often not even part of the conversation.
It really narrows the definition of sex and pleasure.
Another thing the book calls out is our tendency to equate natural with normal, healthy, and good, and then unnatural with abnormal, unhealthy, and bad. This kind of thinking can be really damaging when it comes to sex.
Because it leads to judgments about what's acceptable and what's not.
Right, and the book challenges this idea that just because something has a biological basis, it's automatically inborn and unchangeable. Our choices, our experiences, our environment, these all shape our biology too.
Even our brains can change based on our experiences. Like, studies show that meditation can physically alter brain structure.
It's pretty amazing. So this whole natural versus unnatural debate is way more complex than we often make it out to be.
And throughout history, these kinds of judgments have led to some pretty harmful outcomes, right? Like the pathologization of homosexuality.
Absolutely. And the ongoing stigma against kink.
It's so important to question those assumptions and to remember that diversity is natural.
And on a more positive note, the book talks about the value of erotic fiction.
Erotic fiction.
Yeah, it can be a really powerful way to explore a wider range of sexual fantasies and experiences. It gives you a safe space to imagine possibilities beyond those narrow, normal scripts.
That's interesting. It's like giving yourself permission to explore different desires.
Exactly. And we're also seeing a much greater understanding of asexuality these days. The idea that sexual attraction and romantic attraction are not the same thing.
Right. And there's a whole spectrum of asexuality.
Right.
With terms like gray A and demisexual.
It's all about recognizing that there's no one-size-fits-all model for human sexuality.
It's about respecting individual differences.
So the key here is to challenge this idea that everyone has to be sexual, this sexual imperative that society pushes on us, and to be wary of any sex advice that feels coercive or that doesn't put individual desire and consent first.
It should be about pleasure and connection, not pressure and performance.
Exactly. And the book has this great exercise. Create a yes, no, maybe list of different sexual activities.
That sounds interesting, like a personal inventory of your sexual desires.
Yeah, it helps you get more in touch with what you actually want and don't want.
Without any judgment.
Right. So, to recap, here are some of the rules of sex that need a serious rethink. The pressure to have normal sex, the expectation that it should always be great, the fear of anything abnormal or risky, as long as it's consensual, and the unspoken rule that we shouldn't talk openly about our desires and boundaries.
So much to unpack there.
Now, let's move on to the often invisible rules of gender. We've already talked a bit about how deeply intertwined gender is with our ideas about relationships. And if you just look at mainstream media, the dominant image of a couple is still very much a heterosexual one.
Yeah, you see it everywhere. Movies, TV shows, advertising. It's like this default setting.
And it really shapes our assumptions about how relationships should look, even if we don't consciously realize it.
It's like this unspoken script we're all supposed to follow.
And then you have things like the rules for women and the game for men. You know, those dating advice books and articles that still circulate.
Oh yeah, like the whole play hard to get thing?
Exactly. And while they might seem outdated or even a bit silly, they really highlight these deeply ingrained assumptions about gender differences and how we're supposed to approach dating.
Like men and women are from different planets and need these secret strategies to understand each other.
Right, it creates this artificial sense of competition and manipulation in relationships.
It's not exactly a recipe for a healthy connection, is it?
Not really. And the book brings up this important concept of emotional labor in relationships.
Emotional labor, what's that?
It's all the unseen work that goes into managing emotions, maintaining social connections, making sure everyone feels cared for.
Oh, like remembering birthdays, sending thank you notes, being the peacemaker in family conflicts.
Yeah, exactly. And this labor is often divided unevenly along gender lines.
So women are often expected to do more of this emotional work.
It's a common pattern, unfortunately. And it's not just about gender either. Things like race and class play a role too.
It's like certain groups are expected to carry a heavier emotional burden.
Exactly. And these rigid gender stereotypes are harmful for everyone. For women, it can lead to their identity being overly tied to their relationships. And for men, it can limit their emotional expression and ability to be vulnerable.
So it boxes everyone in.
And the book really emphasizes the diversity that exists across all aspects of sex and gender. Things like chromosomes, hormones, anatomy, brain structure, gender identity, gender expression. These are all on a spectrum.
Not just a simple male-female binary.
Right. And Judith Butler's concept of gender as performative is so helpful here. It's not about consciously acting a role, but rather about the ways we dress, speak, and interact that construct our gender in a social context.
So gender is more fluid and dynamic than we often think of it.
Exactly. The book encourages you to think about your own experience of gender. How has it been shaped by your culture, by your race, class, sexuality?
It's like peeling back the layers of all these social influences.
And beyond the binary, we have this whole range of non-binary gender identities and experiences. People who identify as agender, gender fluid, bigender, and many others.
It's about recognizing that gender isn't one size fits all.
And unfortunately, there's still a lot of backlash against challenging these traditional views of gender. You see it in the way we focus on a baby's gender from the moment they're born.
Like it's the most important thing about them.
And even our language is so gendered. It can be hard to talk about people without defaulting to Hesha pronouns.
We need more inclusive language to reflect the diversity of gender experiences.
And it's really about making gender trouble, as Judith Butler said. It's
Yeah.
about intentionally challenging these rigid and often harmful ways of thinking about gender.
It's about creating more space for everyone to express themselves authentically.
So the rules of gender that need to be rewritten include the idea that there are only two genders, that gender is fixed by biology, that men and women are inherently different and compatible, and that relationship problems are primarily due to gender differences.
A lot to rethink there.
Now, let's move on to the rules of monogamy. The book starts by pointing out this fundamental paradox. We're all intrinsically alone in our own experience, but we're also deeply social creatures who need connection.
It's like we're constantly balancing our need for independence with our longing for belonging.
Right, it's that push and pull we feel in all our relationships.
And mainstream media often portrays non-monogamy in a negative light, like it's this strange, deviant thing that's destined to fail.
Yeah, you often see it depicted as dysfunctional or just plain weird, and there's often a double standard for men and women too.
Like it's more acceptable for men to have multiple partners.
Which is interesting when you consider how much infidelity exists in supposedly monogamous relationships. It makes you wonder if maybe non-monogamy in some form is more common than we admit. And the book challenges this strict binary of monogamy versus non-monogamy. There's actually a whole range of relationship structures out there.
And different cultures have different norms, too.
Right, and even the term monogamish suggests that there's more of a spectrum than a strict either.
And the whole landscape of relationships has gotten even more complex with the rise of hookup culture and dating apps.
Yeah, and cybersex. It's blurred the lines of what we consider monogamy and infidelity.
So how does the book define open relationships and polyamory?
It presents them as more intentional forms of non-monogamy, with different structures like egalitarian models where all partners have equal standing, or hierarchical ones with a primary partner.
And even solo polyamory, where people have multiple relationships but no primary partner.
But there's still a lot of stigma around these relationship styles.
Yeah, it can be hard to go against societal norms.
And navigating open or poly relationships successfully requires a lot of communication and clear boundaries.
And a willingness to work through complex emotions like jealousy,
Right. And interestingly, even within these non-monogamous frameworks, there can still be a tendency to prioritize romantic love above other forms of love.
Like those primary partners within a polyamorous group might still be seen as more important.
Which makes you wonder why we place romantic love on such a pedestal in our society. Why is it considered more valuable than other forms of love, like friendship?
That's a good question. We don't have the same rituals or language for celebrating deep, long-lasting friendships.
And the book encourages us to expand our definition of love relationships to include our bonds with animals, places, hobbies, even fictional characters.
So love can exist in many forms. It doesn't have to be romantic.
Exactly. So here are the rules of monogamy that we need to question. The idea that only monogamy works, and this unspoken rule that you're not supposed to discuss or renegotiate the terms of monogamy in your relationship.
It's about opening up the conversation and being honest about what works for you.
Next up, we have the rules of conflict. The book reminds us that conflict is an inevitable part of all relationships.
Yeah, there's no escaping it no matter how hard you try.
And the way we experience conflict is shaped by our identities, our gender, race, class, cultural background.
So different people approach conflict in different ways.
Absolutely. Some people avoid it, others are more confrontational, and societal norms definitely play a role too.
Like how men are often expected to be more assertive and women more accommodating.
Right. And then there are these common negative rules that we often follow in conflict, like this idea that one person has to be right and the other wrong.
Which just leads to more arguing and finger pointing.
Exactly. It creates this adversarial dynamic where everyone's trying to win. And we also have this tendency to look for a good guy and a bad guy.
Like someone has to be the villain.
And the book reminds us that relationships are co-created. We both play a role in the dynamics that unfold, even in conflicts.
So it's not about blaming each other, but understanding how you both contribute to the situation.
And of course, we all bring our own baggage to conflict, past experiences, unresolved issues. That's why self-care is so crucial.
Yeah, you need to be able to regulate your own emotions and not get swept up in the heat of the moment.
And the book really advocates for taking a time out during heated arguments. But the key is to agree on this strategy beforehand, so it's not just one person storming off.
It's about having a plan for how to de-escalate and come back to the conversation later.
Right. The goal is to move towards what the book calls mutual relationships, where you value both your own needs and your partner's needs equally.
And respect each other's freedom.
Exactly. And this gentle and firm approach applies to conflict, too.
So being honest and direct, but also kind and empathetic.
And remembering that you're not responsible for your partner's feelings, you can't control how they react.
You can only control your own actions.
And it's so helpful to avoid extreme language, those absolute statements that just escalate things.
Like you always do this or you never do that.
Instead, focus on trying to truly understand each other's perspectives. Sometimes just feeling heard is enough to de-escalate things.
So instead of trying to win the argument, try to understand each other.
Right. So some of the rules of conflict we need to challenge are the need to be right, escalating attacks, avoiding resolution, and trying to fix the other person.
Conflict is a natural part of relationships. It's how you handle it that matters.
Now let's talk about the often painful rules of breakup. Society tends to view breakups as failures.
Yeah, it's like you didn't make it, you messed up somehow.
And there's this pressure to come up with a clear story about why it happened and who's to blame.
Like someone has to be the bad guy.
And we see these breakup narratives all the time in movies and TV shows. The scorned ex, the heartbreaker.
It's like we're all supposed to fit into these predetermined roles.
And when we go through our own breakups, it's easy to fall into those patterns, even if they don't quite fit.
Because we're looking for an explanation, a way to make sense of it all.
And the book has this great exercise. Reflect on your own past breakup stories and the roles you and your exes played. It can be really eye-opening.
Like, were you always the victim or the villain?
Right. It helps you see how those narratives might be shaping your view of relationships.
And breakups can bring up a lot of intense emotions. It's not always pretty.
Definitely. And they affect more than just the two people involved. Friends, family, everyone gets pulled in.
It ripples outward.
And it's so important to challenge that initial story we tell ourselves about the breakup. Whether it's blaming ourselves or blaming our ex, it's usually an oversimplification.
It's about trying to see things from multiple perspectives.
And even though our friends might be trying to be supportive, sometimes their validation of our negative feelings can actually reinforce a one-sided view.
It's like they're taking sides, which doesn't always help in the long run.
And we have to remember that memory is fallible. The way we remember things is often shaped by the story we're telling ourselves.
So even if you and your ex were in the same relationship, you might have completely different memories of what happened.
And sometimes those different stories just can't be reconciled.
It's okay to agree to disagree.
And the book offers this really interesting idea. A breakup doesn't have to be the absolute end of all connection with someone.
Especially if your lives are still intertwined in some way.
Right. You might need to redefine the relationship, find a new way to relate to each other.
It's about recognizing that relationships are complex and can evolve over time.
And we tend to equate staying together with success and breaking up with failure.
Which can make it hard to leave, even when it's the best thing to do.
Exactly. And the book emphasizes that self-care during and after a breakup is so important.
It's about being kind to yourself during a difficult time.
And it's not just personal, it's political too. It's about reclaiming your own worth and agency.
Taking back your power.
So, in terms of breakup rules to question, we have the idea that they're always failures, the need for a clear-cut story and blame, and the assumption that it means a complete severing of all connection.
It's about allowing for more complexity and nuance in how we view breakups.
And finally, we come to the rules of commitment. This is especially interesting to explore after questioning all these other relationship norms.
Yeah, like what does commitment even mean when you're throwing out the old rule book?
Right. And the book has this thought-provoking question. Given everything we've discussed, what promises would you actually want to make in a commitment ceremony?
That's a good one. What feels authentic and true to you?
Exactly. And it uses this helpful metaphor, the relationship escalator. It's that idea of a linear progression in relationships. Dating, exclusivity, moving in together, marriage, kids.
Like there's this set path that everyone's supposed to follow.
And the book encourages you to map out your own personal relationship escalator. What are the steps you assume are part of the progression?
It makes you aware of your own unconscious expectations.
And questioning these escalator rules is important because they can keep us stuck in relationships that aren't working or make us afraid of commitment altogether.
It's like we're afraid to get off the escalator even if it's taking us to the wrong place.
Or we're terrified of even getting on in the first place because we don't want to be trapped.
Those forever promises can be really daunting.
And problems can arise when partners have different ideas about the escalator. Maybe one person wants to move faster, or they have different expectations about things like shared living space or how much time they spend together.
It's about finding compatibility in your relationship goals.
And there's often this worry about how to maintain love and desire over the long term.
Like, will the passion fade? Will we grow apart?
Those are common fears. And the book emphasizes the importance of open communication about what commitment milestones actually mean to each of you.
So, like, what does moving in together really signify? Or getting married?
Right. It's about making those implicit promises explicit.
So instead of focusing on those big forever promises, the book suggests focusing on the present moment.
Choosing to be present and engaged in your relationship right now, rather than worrying about the distant future.
It's about appreciating what you have instead of constantly striving for what's next.
And valuing flexibility and change, recognizing